Hi, everyone. We hope you guys are having a great day out there. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is Mr. Tiska with you once again. And once again, I'm joined by Mrs. Kraft. Mrs. Kraft, how are you?
I'm ready for a party.
Ooh, party! Woo! We also have Miss Hobb with us, joining us for this party.
I am ready to spill the tea.
I see what you did there.
I see what you did. So today we're going to continue with Chapter 3, Section 5.
And the main idea that we're going to talk about today is the colonists protested the British tax on tea with the Boston Tea Party.
Party! So as you guys know from our last screencast, Parliament kept the tax on tea. Now, not only did they do that, but they also passed something called the Tea Act. Now, the Tea Act sometimes gets a little confusing because students believe that the Tea Act actually created a tax on tea. It really didn't do that. What it did was it enabled a company called the British East India Company to sell tea directly to the colonists. They didn't have to pay colonial ships to go back and forth and bring their tea into the colonies. They could just sell it directly. So that enabled them to make more money and enabled them to lower the price of tea, which actually hurt a lot of colonists who had jobs in trade. So the colonists were very upset about that. Now, eventually, 3 ships carrying tea are going to lead into Boston Harbor. That when the colonists hear about this, specifically the Sons of Liberty, they demand the ships to leave. Now, the governor refused to let the ships go unless the tax of tea was paid on them. So the Sons of Liberty actually disguised themselves as Mohawk Indians.
Anybody would really believe that, but okay.
Yeah, okay. They disguised themselves as Mohawk Indians. They boarded the ship and they dumped about 340 tea chests into Boston Harbor. So they completely ruined all of the tea that was on these ships.
Boston Harbor, teapot tonight.
So you can see right here, you can see the picture of the Sons of Liberty disguised as Mohawk Indians. Now, Mrs. Kraft is exactly right. Even though they disguised themselves as Mohawk Indians, everybody really knew that the Sons of Liberty was behind this on December 16th, 1773.
So let me just give you, compare it to something that you can get now. Imagine that right now you buy your sneakers from, I don't know, Foot Locker. Okay, and Foot Locker sells your sneakers to you for $100. What the Tea Act said is you could go right to Nike and buy your sneakers directly from Nike for $50. Okay, so, and you still have to pay your tax on it, but you'd be buying them for less. The colonists were like, we don't care if our sneakers / tea for them are free and all you're charging us is the tax. We're not buying it based on it's the principle of it. We're not paying the tax on the tea. So your Tea Act is worth nothing to us as long as you're making us pay a tax on that tea. And that takes us to main idea 4.
So main idea 4. Great Britain responded to the colonial actions by passing the Intolerable Acts.
Imagine the king is like the father of the colonies, and the colonies are these bad kids. And we just took a temper tantrum and threw all that tea in the harbor. And now the king is like, they need to be punished.
And how's he going to punish them? Well, there's a couple different things. So he's going to close, Boston Harbor is going to be closed until all of that tea was paid for. There was going to be no more town meetings. Remember, this is where they talk about different things and get different things passed in the colonies. The trials for British officials were going to be moved to England. They established the Quartering Act, which forced colonists to house British soldiers. The Quebec Act gave land to Quebec. And General Thomas Gage was made the new governor of Massachusetts.
Wait, Ms. Hoff, did you just say that now colonists in Boston have to keep British soldiers in their homes? So that means that they have to clear out space for them and do all of that?
Yep. Knock, knock, knock. They're moving in.
Oh, my goodness. I don't think this is going to work out too well.
Maybe that's
But you
some
guys-
foreshadowing.
I think that's foreshadowing. Yeah, absolutely. To find out more, guys, you're going to have to tune into our next screencast. Mrs. Kraft, anything else you want to add?
No. Thanks for joining us at the party.
Ms. Hoff, anything?
Hope we spilled enough tea for you.
How am I supposed to follow that? Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.